What is going on? What is going on? What is going on, party people? It is your boy, Coach D Brown, former big league, former first round pick with the Kansas City Royals. And man, I know we had a special time, man, but when I got to do special time, that means it's because it's special people. All right. So, speaking of big league, Kansas City Royals, and everything like that, I had to go back. I had to go and chase my man down, man. We go back. I first met this man I ain't gonna tell him when I first met him. I can't remember when we first met. I just remember playing 2+ years with this dude way back as a 19 or 20-year old, coming up through the system. And it was this dude that was a great athlete, could catch, outfield, run things down, tough AB, hard nose, talk junk to you, keep you on your toes. And just was a great teammate, one of the coolest dudes ever, straight out of H-Town. All right. And it's just so when I heard one day I'm watching TV. This is how this whole thing goes when you're especially in this baseball community. I want to say maybe about 2 years ago, I'm watching a baseball game, SEC baseball game and it just so happened we watching with one of our teammates, and we're talking, and Vic Radcliffe's been on the show a couple of times, and we're watching the game, and I just happened to, I wasn't watching too many college games, and about like an hour or so later, I turn it off and I go watch something else. An hour later, Vic texts me and says, "Yo, Pat Holmes, Hallmark?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, he's a pitcher coach, and the game we were watching. I was like, "Stop playing." He's like, "Yeah." So I look him up. Boom. All right, the Mizzou pitching coach is Pat Hallmark. I chase him down, and here and there, a couple of stops here and there, and boom. I just watching the game. I turn back to the game and realize my boy is the pitching coach at Mizzou. So this is how this whole baseball thing works in a small community that it is. And like I said, I'll make special exceptions to my boy Pat Hallmark, now at the University of Texas at San Antonio, Division I school in San Antonio, Texas. Love that area. Great city. And Big Pat, man, finally chased you down, man. It's good to see you on, man. What's going on, Big Pat?
D, I'm pumped to be here, and I don't think I can live up to that introduction though. About the only thing you said that was true was we used to talk junk to each other. I'm not sure about all the compliments you gave me there. I wasn't near as good as some of you guys. I know that. So it's fun to be here, man. It's great to see you. You look fantastic.
Appreciate it, bro. Appreciate it, Big Pat. You do too. I like the salt and pepper, looking like a young Richard Greer, looking like a Richard Greer out there.
A lot of wins and losses mixed in there. Who's pitching next game and all that good stuff. So, yeah.
All right. Hey, so we got a couple guys. What's up, Jake? What's up, Russ? What's up, Pierre? All right, we got Chucky. Remember Chucky over the Bat Boy in Wilmington? All right, we got Big Ty Meaty says Hallmark. Holy cow, no way. You know what I'm saying? So, and we got Birchie, Matt Bird. So we got some of the Royals guys chiming in, and we gonna get a few more. I guarantee. Yeah. So. Shout out to all my ex-players, my ex-teammates and stuff, and including my boy Big Pat. So, listen, man. The good thing about this, man, I love to know the history behind these coaches, and we're gonna learn about your program, man. I know a good part of the the Pat Hallmark leading up when he was battling A-ball over there. We all trying to just make it, right? But I want to know that background, man. So let's go from the beginning. Tell the people where you're from. And playing career to coaching career to where you are as a head coach now at University of Texas at San Antonio.
Yeah, certainly. So I grew up in Houston, like you mentioned, and proud of the H-Town roots. We'll see, maybe the Rockets can get back on track. But yeah, I grew up in Houston and played some junior college baseball right outside of Houston in Alvin, and then ended up at Rice, and of course spent 9 years kicking around the minor leagues, where I met. And all these other guys, some really great years that I wouldn't trade for anything. And then got into coaching, really. I mean, I knew I wanted to coach, but I was ready to coach in high school, frankly. I was set to be a high school coach once I finished playing, and I really got lucky. I was working a camp back at Rice for Wayne Graham, who I played for. And this was now right after we finished, D. So whatever that was, it's been 18 years or something. He lost a coach that summer, and he offered me the volunteer job, and I said, yeah, let's do it. And here we are, whatever it's been, 17 years later, and kind of been at a few stops. Started off at Rice and had a lot of success working for Coach Graham. Went to Omaha in the College World Series 3 times. Some great teams, really, and great players. Some big leaguers through there, Brock Holt and Anthony Rendon and some other guys. But ended up in Missouri. You mentioned when I was pitching coach up there in the SEC, and then I took a head coaching job at a little school down here in San Antonio called University Incarnate Word. And then just a year ago, I switched over, still here in San Antonio, but made the jump over across town to UTSA, University of Texas at San Antonio, and happy to be here. The city is awesome. That's probably the from a recruiting standpoint, the number one draw to where we're at now is I can't think of a better place to, if I was a young man, to want to go to college. So it's a fantastic city. So we're pumped to be here. And you and I were just talking before. As of now, we're playing ball. So, man, with everything that's going on in the world, we certainly don't take that for granted anymore, just being able to get out and play baseball. So we got guys out on the field right now kind of doing their own thing, hitting on their own. We haven't started officially yet, but it's nice to see them out there.
No doubt about it, man. And you're, the humble Hallmark guy over there trying to, you've been at some big time stops, man. And like you said, Rice, and we played at Rice. And again, and let me even go back further. We talked about this behind the scenes. So speaking of one of my teammates that's coming on next week, but again, parents listening in, I always say this, man. And much as I love your D1 coaches, man, but my boy Hallmark here played professionally, damn near 10 years. But started at a junior college, another junior college guy. Okay, you guys know how I feel about that. He started at junior college, then went on to Rice, all right, and then had a 9-year professional playing career, and then went back to Rice as a coach, humbly saying these type of things, and then Mizzou, you know what I'm saying? Then head coach at I'll chop up a name every time, but Incarnate Word, and then now a head coach at University at Texas and San Antonio. So obviously he's in San Antonio, great town. All right. So let's talk about the actual school, the conference, because I want to know. I mean, obviously I heard of the school, but I don't know the conference. I don't know the background, anything like that, man. So from a school standpoint, Big Pat, where, what conference are you guys in? How many kids is in the program? And it is a D1 school. All right. People may not know that, but it is a Division I school. Tell me a little bit about the conference and where you guys playing, man.
Yeah, so we're in Conference USA, which has Rice in it. So I was at Rice for 11 years as an assistant. Wow. We were really good those years. Mm-hmm. Again, went to Omaha 3 times. But the reason I bring that up is it was a relatively smooth transition when I was able to get the job here because I knew the conference, which is Conference USA. So we're talking – okay. Again, kind of the perennials are Rice, at least a few years ago, and Southern Mississippi and Florida Atlantic are kind of the big baseball schools out of there. Louisiana Tech is tough, but lots of good schools, Middle Tennessee State, Marshall, and Florida International, who's got as much talent as anybody. So a lot of good teams spread out all over the southern and middle part of the country. So it's good baseball. We're trying to – UTSA traditionally has finished kind of in the middle of the pack over the years. Coach Shepard and Coach Aguayo are our assistants over here, and we're trying to build something special, frankly, and kind of instead of finishing in the middle of the pack, we want to start knocking on that door with the likes of Southern Mississippi and Florida Atlantic who have done a great job in this conference. And Coach Barry and Coach Mack at Florida Atlantic do a sensational job. So we're just trying to get up to their level and build something lasting here, and we're excited about it. Like I said, the city we're in is awesome. So and it's Texas, which means good baseball, like any of the Sun Belt or South and Western states. So we're trying to find the best players we can and start competing with those guys, and maybe while we're at it, knock off one of these big schools in the state. A couple years ago at UIW, we were able to knock off the Longhorns and the Aggies in the same year, D.
Nice.
Nobody thought we could do that, but nice. We're going to try to do that over here, sneak up on some people at least for a while, and then hopefully a few years from now, we won't be able to sneak up on them anymore. But at some point, you got to sneak up on them. So that's what we're trying to do, yeah.
So this past season would have been your second season there?
Here. Yeah, it would have been. This was my first. COVID was our first year. My staff and I's first year at UTSA. So yeah, it was interesting.
Oh
17
wow.
games. 17 games and the season ended. We
Wow.
were 10-7 when it ended, which was okay. We'd like to be a little better, frankly.
Mhm.
But it was enough to learn the players, certainly, and what we had from a personnel standpoint. And we got a lot of them back. We got a lot of new faces, too. So we're excited for year two. I guess we call it kind of year 1.5, really. We'll
Mm,
see.
mm, mm.
So,
So yeah, that's crazy. You're about the. I mean, you're probably about the seventh, eighth coach that I've had on that took on a job, for the first year and had to deal with this
yeah,
COVID stuff, man. So it's
yeah.
man, it's been tough. I know it's tough for you, man. And the conference, I didn't realize, where you guys. There's some good ball, some
Oh, yeah.
really good teams. And the Florida Atlantic coach, he was supposed to come on. He like you talking about technical difficulties, couldn't get on. But yeah, we've and I say you, but obviously you're here. But talking about you didn't need a Facebook account. But
I had to make you schedule a special time for me, D.
Hey, and I do it for, like I said, for you. You know what I mean, my boy. I'll definitely make it happen. I was just, this is what happens, fam. My family out here. When I get my boys, you know what I'm saying? Like, I got to chase certain guys down, man. You know what I'm saying? He's one. So very, very, he's doing things, starting up his
Well,
new program over here, and he's busy. So, but I'll make room for my guys now. This is the only way I get to talk to him now. You know what I mean? He's a busy dude. So it's just, we got to catch up online. You know what I'm saying?
well,
So,
I'm grateful. In all seriousness, I am grateful you were able to move some stuff around. So I'm pumped to be here with you. And man, it's been too long. You know how
it
this stuff is. It's
has,
great to
man.
reconnect, and we always feel like we're going to connect here soon. And then you look up and 2 or 3 years and a head
Right.
full of gray hair later, and you finally
Right.
connect.
Yeah,
So
it's in there too. Yeah, trust me, it's in there too. I'm all over. So yeah, it's just crazy. I mean, it's just where
you
we
got a
are.
little. You look good though. You look at the Just for Men going with the.
No,
You look,
no, no. It's the grades is mixed in. The grades is mixed in. It's just the sides. I cut it, but once it grows out, it gets really great. But this definitely is
I hear
great.
you.
This is salt and pepper all day. So, but yeah, this is so anyway. San Antonio, brand new program. So how obviously being in Texas, that's big. Beating and getting to battle these Texas schools. I mean, we all know the type of talent you come from there. You've been recruiting in that area for at Rice for many many years, man. So now you're the head guy at UT San Antonio. All right, Conference USA, good good conference. How tough is it when it comes to recruiting in the state of Texas with so much talent? But then you got everybody in state and out of state, coming in taking up the top talent. Are you just stuck to Texas? Are you going in and out out of state too to recruit some guys or what?
Well, we do mostly recruit Texas, and it's all. I get this question a lot from parents, and the bottom line is simply time and money. Like everything in life, to be very blunt, it's about time and money. So we mostly recruit Texas just because we're limited on time and money, and obviously the kids closer to home are more likely to come here. That being said, we are not opposed at all to kids from out of state. So this year in our class that just got here, this freshman class, we have a young man from Arizona, and so we're certainly open to and would love to recruit out of state. I'm waiting for you to send me one of them talented big right-handed pitchers from Georgia, D.
Okay.
No, but we do mostly stay home. The other part of staying home that it's the money issue that I mentioned is it's in state. So from a not that UTSA is inexpensive, but relatively speaking, when you look at colleges nowadays, if you're in state, we are relatively inexpensive compared to some of the private schools. So again,
what are the prices of that?
for everything, this is books, tuition fees, a dorm room, and food and everything. Here at UTSA, you're looking at about 22 and a half, 23.
For in-state, right?
Yeah, compared to, I don't know what it is now, but compared to my days when I was recruiting at Rice, you're talking about $60,000, and it's probably more now. So,
Mm.
so just realistically, that's a good thing for UTSA because it's, you're talking about partial scholarships like always in baseball. So when you're trying to recruit a kid and you offer them 40, 50%, it's a little more doable when they look up that number and it's 22 or 23 compared to 60 or 65. So, yeah, that's another reason we tend to stay closer to home. And of course, the time it takes longer to get to to get to Georgia or California. But we would love to get some out of state guys in here. Like I said, we have one now coming in, but there's a lot of good players in Texas.
Yeah.
Between just south of us and Corpus and down near, we call it just South Texas, a bunch of good players. And then, of course, you have the triangle of Houston, Dallas, and San Antonio. That triangle there, shoot, you could build 5 Division I baseball teams right there in that triangle. So we tend to stay close to home. And it is a challenge. You mentioned some of the big schools, you know, the A&Ms and the Texases, and there's some great programs that aren't even, quote, Power 5. University of Houston and Coach Whitting, he's got a great program over there. They're not Power 5. Dallas Baptist, wow, you know, sensational program. So it is a challenge, but at the end of the day, and I fell into this category 25 years ago, there's players here, D. There's players, there's baseball players all over this state. You know, I wasn't recruited. I went to college, like you mentioned. There's so many good players here in the state of Texas. You just gotta look, and you gotta find the ones with a little bit of grit. They might be a little undersized at first. You know, we're not all big and strong. I mean, you were a big leaguer. You looked like a big leaguer the first day I met you when you were 18 years old. Unfortunately, I never looked like a big leaguer, even today. But you know, a lot of those kids are physically mature. That's a big part of this game. And so you might see them in high school and they're 155, 160 pounds or less. And you wake up 2 years later after JUCO and they're 180 pounds, 190 pounds, and they can just impact the ball a little harder. It's just life. It's just what it is. The parents and the kids need to know that. But yeah, here in this state, you can find ball players if you just keep looking. So that's what we've done over the last 2 years at UIW and now at UTSA, and we'll keep finding them.
So, being that you're the D1 program and running, you know, the recruiting side of things, how far out, you know, how has COVID affected, you know, recruiting class? I mean, obviously getting there new, got to learn your players, you know, trying to see the needs and everything. Like you said, you had a good sample size of 17 games. That's a good sample size to really understand what you have, especially plus the practices. What do you feel like, obviously, you know, your needs and how far out, you know what I'm saying? Because you're at the D1 schools, you know, you hear the Rices and the Texases, they're recruiting 8th, 9th, 10th, you know what I'm saying, 9th graders and stuff. Like, are you on that path? Where are you at when it comes to your school?
No. Again, I'm going to speak maybe more frank than some people. I don't know, but I enjoyed my time at Rice and at Mizzou because we won a lot at both places. But from a recruiting standpoint, you know, I don't know how many coaches will admit it, but every single one of them thinks this or says it. It's a pain in the ass, and it's not a good thing when these guys are out recruiting 8th and 9th graders. It's crazy. I mean, they haven't even played a varsity baseball game yet, you know, and at the end of the day, I'm not knocking those guys. I was one of them. And you got to do it, because if you don't, you're going to fall behind, but you're going to miss more. At the end of the day, if you're recruiting a 15-year-old, I don't care how good of an evaluator you are, you're going to miss on more 15-year-olds than you are 17-year-olds. So for the most part, you know, we try to really hone in on them their junior year of high school. We try to get a good, like everybody, you try to get a good network and good information going so that after that junior year, when they hit that summer circuit going before their senior year, you know, frankly, like you know, at least everybody knows, those guys throwing 92, 94, they're 8 up. They're committed. But there are plenty of guys, especially around here, like I said, from Corpus Christi, which is south of us, up to Dallas and over to Houston. And that's a big area. But in that area, you see tons of guys throwing 84, 85 as 10th graders, maybe throwing 86 as 11th graders. And then you roll out there that summer before their senior year, and they're 88 to 91. Some of them are popping some 92s, and you know, at the end of the day, there's enough of them, frankly, that you get on them, and you still look for the guys with even more upside. So they're going to continue to throw harder. You know, we look up, everybody's looking who can spin the ball a little bit, and probably I don't know why this isn't looked for more, but you got to throw the thing over the plate too. You know, a lot of people love the 92s and 93s, and we love them, but 92 and 93, for a ball don't work. The kid that can hold, 88 and throw it over the plate and loves to compete, we love those guys. And that's what we're looking for, frankly. So they're out there. But back to your original question, I don't miss recruiting 15-year-olds. And I never recruited an 8th grader, but I see all the time, heck, they're committing 8th graders now, which I don't even understand how that works, but it is what it is, So,
yeah. Well,
I'm not saying I won't do it if I'm at those schools, but again, I don't think it's a good thing for the kid or the school because you're going to miss. At the end of the day, you're going to miss a lot. So we're going after the guys largely the summer before their senior year and a little before. Like I said, during their junior year is probably when we're most active with our recruiting scene. Yeah.
All right. So let me just acknowledge some more. I said they would come in. So Jay Lane, Jason Lane says, "What's up, Big Pat?"
Former roommate right there.
Okay. All right.
He can probably tell you more than I want him to tell you. He was a roommate in AA.
Nice. All right. Big Berg, Brandon Berger. I never get Berger on. Right. I've never now Carrie, his wife will come on from time to time, but Big Berg is in the building today. Yeah. So you don't drew out Big Berg.
I don't want those guys telling stories.
So he's on here too, man. So we had Big Time Meaty. We had, like I said, we think over here with some of the ex-teammates of us, man. So shout out to everybody. I know we got Lawrence and Jake, Mississippi, Florida. Like I said, I know we got a good amount of guys on here. So all my other, steady listeners, man, forgive me over there. It's just one of those reunion type of things over here. This nobody knows where Big Pat been. You know what I mean? They don't see my face, but they want to know where Big Pat has been. You know what I'm saying? So when they see you, they're like, oh my God, that's how I was when I saw you on the field.
I do talk to those two guys every once in a while. Again, not enough, but we touch base every once in a while. I still got I don't know where it's from, what team, but I still got some kind of cup from one of these fast food restaurants with Jason Lane's a picture on it. So I can't get away from him.
Yeah, Jay Lane, he listens in a lot, man. That's my boy. So yeah, he's I didn't realize you guys are team, roommates. So that must have been some interesting talks, because Jay Lane, boy, especially talking hitting and some other stuff between the both of you guys. But all right, so recruiting and you're a little different than most of those guys. You kind of do it the old school way. It's like, let me get that guy that's a junior. People might slept on a little bit, and which in our day it was like that was the time to recruit him. You know what I'm saying? But now it's like by the time his junior year, he ain't got too many offers. It's like you worry. You know what I'm saying? But you still plucking those dudes up. And how far are you from Waco? Speaking of, this is off topic. How far are you from Waco?
About 3 hours. Yeah, some people in Waco, or
maybe coming out there doing a showcase out there in November, man. And I'm gonna link you up, man. And if you're able to get off the campuses and do whatever, hopefully you'll have even one of your assistants or something come on out there. Yeah. So I want to my listeners here, man. We scheduled it for either the November 6th or the 13th of Saturday. So if you are, I know it's a little bit of a ride, but if you or one of your coaches are not doing nothing, I'll give you the information in the background. I'd love for you to come. We're gonna have about 100 kids there, man. So it should be, find some kids out there, man. So love for you to come. Can you hear me?
Now I can.
Okay. So anyway, I was trying to tell you. Oh Lord. Well, we get Big Pat on. All right, talking about coming out there, get him back linked up over here. So, but anyway, you see us talking. He'll come back on in a minute. All right, here he comes. We got a phone call, Polly, or what?
I'm back on. Sorry about that.
You good? You good? Yeah, I know. Anyway, I was just saying, I'll give you the information on that thing in the background on November 6th and 13th. All right. But I have Bubba. I cannot share it on here like I usually do. But Bubba says, I have a 2023 class son who's been competing at a varsity level in 7th grade, plus a starting outside linebacker this year. Tough kid, plays with all heart. All right, from Alabama. Bubba's from Alabama. So, you're going to get, you're going to get some guys, with parents and stuff are going to be, talking about their kids and stuff. I give them an open platform, and they ask questions and stuff too. So,
Sure.
all right. So now with the COVID and, hitting now, are you holding any camps? I know obviously you had to cancel many of them in the fall and summer and fall. Are you holding any type of prospect camps going on in, soon, wintertime, or what's going on?
We're not, only because we don't know when the NCAA is going to open up the get us off this dead period. So we have nothing scheduled because we don't want to schedule it and start getting people registering and then having to refund all their money. That's the issue right now. So we're waiting. Everybody just I think everybody's in the same boat, at least on the Division I level. Everybody's kind of waiting on this dead period to be lifted, and the rumor is it might get lifted for October 1 because the D2s have already lifted it. But that's just a rumor. That I know nothing behind the scenes, but that's the reason there's no camp scheduled. Traditionally, D, we would have a camp, a fall showcase camp and a winter showcase camp. So basically in November and then early January, when the kids are still on Christmas break, we do camps both those times to try to find some guys. Going in, like I said, going into the high school season in January, it's a good time to hold that stuff. So that would tentatively still be the plan, but we gotta see if they're gonna let us.
All right. So, yeah, I think everybody's in that same boat with your D1 guys, man. But yeah. Mike in Oakland says, what position is your priority to recruit this year?
Yeah, Mike. At least with me personally, it's going to be pitching every year. I right or wrong, and way more right than wrong. I kind of cut my teeth coaching for Wayne Graham at Rice, who's a legend and a Hall of Famer and well-deserved and won so many baseball games. I learned so much from him. And he used to tell us, when you think you got enough pitching, go out and get some more. So it all starts up there on the mound. We all know that. So pitching is a priority every year. And then from there, though, I think probably the question you're really getting at, which I think is important, at least, again, this is just me personally, we try to recruit the middle of the field. So obviously that's pitching. They're squarely in the middle of the field. But beyond that, we try to recruit shortstops and center fielders and, of course, catching. Catching is more specific to the position. But we love shortstops and center fielders because if they can play that at their high school or at their summer team, we all know they're probably versatile enough to move around to left field or third base compared to a guy that might play second base or left field. You can't always move them around as often. So, again, that's not to say we don't recruit corner outfielders or we don't recruit the other positions, but they better bang a little more. If you got a shortstop or center fielder and he can defend, and maybe we want him to hit too, don't get me wrong, but that versatility is very important, especially when you're talking about 11.7 scholarships. There's only so many to go around, and once you pay those pitchers, it's way less than 11.7 for the rest of those guys. So if you got a versatile guy who can play multiple positions, which again gets back to shortstop and center field, your dollars can start to stretch a little bit. Yeah.
I mean, you have to look for guys you speaking of guys that are versatile. I mean, for my listeners listening in, man, this dude was a versatile player himself. I mean, I know personally for the team, when we played together, he would catch, had a hose, could run as a catcher and play outfield. Those combinations really don't happen a lot, especially on the pro level, man. So when he looks for vertical,
hit it over the fence, D. That was one big shortfall there.
When you say one of your biggest, attributes was the versatility part, right?
Yeah, there's no doubt. That's why, ultimately that's why I got drafted, and that's why I was able to hang around for 9 years. Is I could play multiple positions and I could run a little bit. So again, you don't think about it when you're playing. You're just trying to survive, or at least I was. I was trying to not get released and play the next year and maybe make it. But as a coach, you certainly can, looking back, I can see why, maybe in a spring training meeting, a coach might say, well, I'm going to keep Hallmark and cut this other guy because I gave him some options. Again, I wasn't the greatest hitter, and I certainly didn't hit a lot of home runs, but I allowed them to have some flexibility. So yeah, it holds true even now. Again, getting back to the shortstops and center fielders, that's not to say we don't recruit the other positions, because you got to be able to hit. So, we got a couple kids coming in the 2021 class that are corner outfielders, but we really project them to hit. I mean, they're big, strong kids, and they can impact the ball. But again, if you're going to take a chance on a guy, he's got to be versatile enough to play multiple positions. Yeah.
I love that. All right, I love that. Speaking of the 2021s, I got a question. Javier in Florida says, are they looking for any 2021s?
We are still on the mound. And again, we would never pass up a player that we think can help us win. But in terms of scholarship money, which we still have some available for the 2021 class, we kind of have it earmarked on the mound, because we have 6 guys committed, position players, and just 2 or 3 arms. And we feel like we need some more arms. Like I said, we never have enough pitching. So we are looking for 2021s, but mostly on the mound. Yeah.
All right. Stephanie Prieto says, what's up? Haven't seen Pat forever. He said the Prieto says hi. So we have Steph on here. All right.
It's a blast from the past. Way
right,
back.
exactly. All right. So Bubba says, so would you recommend pushing the utility aspect when promoting a player?
Absolutely. Again, I don't know what these kids hear. I think the select ball coaches around our community do a great job of that. And I had breakfast with one guy this morning, and we were talking about this. And I have a kid who plays with my son. My son's in high school, and he's got teammates, and he's got a kid who plays with the catches. He's very good. He's going to be a Division I player. And I saw him play shortstop the other day. And he's played with my son for 4 years. I'd never seen him play anything but catcher. And he looked good at short. And I told him, you need to play short. When they get out there for these tournaments, they were just at the field jacking around. And I said, because if nothing else, it just tells the coaches like me that you're athletic. I never knew he was such a good athlete, because he just sits back there behind the plate. So absolutely, anytime you can play multiple positions. Again, if I go to a game or Johnny, Division I coach, goes to a game, and I watch a kid play third base for 5 games, and then all of a sudden, a month later, he's playing center field, and he looks competent at it, that's just going to make me like him more. So, yeah, the more they can play, the better.
I know. I already know the type of let's get into that, all right? I kind of hinted about the type of player he was, but athletically, all right? But from a parent that is interested, and I see some guys putting, and of course you're going to think this way. When a lot of these coaches that come on, especially the last few months, I don't necessarily know these guys personally. I'm just, getting to know them more and whatever. But it's very few of the coaches that I know that I bring on here, D1 coaches wise, that I've played with in multiple years. All right, and Pat is one. Big Pat, what type of player, all right, do you look? Because I remember the type of player you were. All right, and you wasn't scared. You were, like I said, you was always ready to come to the ballpark, ready to play, and it didn't matter who was up there, whatever, and would keep his teammates on their toes, meaning like his own teammates, and definitely ready to ride for their, for them against the other team. So, do you find yourself, gravitating towards those type of like hard nosed grinder type, ready to come and play regardless of talent type of thing?
Absolutely. I think that's even more, and this got me in a little bit of trouble in pro ball, because sometimes I didn't know where the line was, and I crossed it. It got me in trouble, and it should have got me in trouble. In other words, I got hit a few times. But yeah, I think in the college game it plays a little better. You play less games for one. So in pro ball, it takes a toll on your body when you're at some point you got to know when enough is enough. But in the college game, we call it JYD, which stands for Junkyard Dog, and we talk about it a lot. If they ain't JYD, we don't want them. That's what we call it, and it's hard to define, but right? If you play, if that guy's JYD or not. So it's hard to evaluate it, right? At the high school level and the summer stuff. I'll be a couple examples, and people talk about running hard to first base. And yeah, we like guys that run hard to first base, or running back to the dugout after a strikeout. I don't want eyewash. If you strike out, I don't give a crap if you run back to the dugout, right? But I expect you to run hard on a ball you might beat out. Friggin' run hard, right? If you run out to your position to go play the game, like when you're playing, I do expect you to at least jog or move a little quicker out there like you like baseball. That's probably the part I think gets overlooked is we like kids that like to play baseball. Usually, if you love to be out on that field playing, you're JYD, and nobody has to tell you to run on and off the field or hustle. Like you just enjoy it. Most of the time, the guys that enjoy baseball the most are the most JYD. Anthony Rendon's a good example. He looks like he plays with a slow motor sometimes, but nobody's more JYD than Anthony Rendon. He's as tough as they come, you know. Obviously, that's a little bit unfair comparison because he's super talented too. But he was that way at Rice. Very JYD, very self-motivated. That's another characteristic we like. If I have to motivate you, I'm not smart enough to do my job, D, without I gotta prepare myself for games and opponents and scouting. So if I gotta motivate you, I don't always like that guy. He better be super talented, right? I need the self-motivated JYD guy that he's ready to go just because he likes to play baseball, frankly. Yeah.
I laugh because I've never seen you coach. You know what I'm saying? Like been on the field. But I just want you guys listen. I don't blow smoke. You know, of course, you know this is my guy, so I'm gonna, you know, I'm happy to see him and talk with him and stuff like that. But when I think that's an ultimate compliment from a teammate to teammate, right? When obviously, you know, this man hustled and played 9 years, and I talk about the athletic stuff, but the stuff that I remember from Big Pat more than anything was that hard nose, ready to go every day, like grinder, like yo, just ready for whatever. And that when I think that's an ultimate compliment from a guy when from a former teammate when the first thing they think about you, it ain't the talent, it ain't, you know, the bomb, because we all like that. That's a sexy thing, you know what I mean? But it's like those intangible part where when I think of Big Pat, it's like, yo, dude was like, yo, always ready to go down, and like, with, you know, and that's the first thing that I think of when I think of Big Pat. So if I'm a dad and I have a player that I'm kind of building up and I want to, you know, build them out. We all want the velo. We all want the pop. We want to run and all that type of stuff. But those intangibles, certain coaches especially, will either get that out of you or, like he said, if he got to drive you, you're out of there. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, those are the type of players that he likes. And that's why I asked that question, because those are the first thoughts that come to my mind when I think of a Pat Hallmark type of player. You know what I'm saying? And I've never seen him coach. He might have got soft in his older days. I don't know. But I know how he was when he played. All right?
If I get soft, hey, if you come watch us and we look soft, just tell me because I'm doing something wrong.
I will. You know, I will. I'll be like, yo, Big Pat, what's going on, man? So what's up to my boy Jamie Brewington? What up, Big Brew? Brew says, ask him about Shane Anderson, one of my former players, freshman over there.
Yeah, he's actually the young man I mentioned that we have from out of state.
Yeah.
From Arizona. Yeah. So we're excited. Like I said, we start Wednesday of next week. I'm not sure if we were talking about that on or before we got on, but we start Wednesday of next week. So the guys are kind of out there on their own, doing their own thing. So we can kind of see them around, but we had to jump through a bunch of hoops with COVID. I shouldn't say jump through hoops. Stuff we needed to do to make sure everybody's kind of in our bubble over here at the UTSA to keep COVID out, our bubble over here, so that the guys are doing that now. But Shane looks good. You know, he's kind of got the West Coast vibe going, which we need some of that around here in Texas. So we're happy to have him, and we're looking for good things from him.
All right. You got Shane Halter in the building. All right. Shane Halter is in the building. All right. So
another guy I used to wish I could play as good. You're getting all these guys, you and him. I used to go home after the game and say, damn, I'm a long way from being able to play in the big leagues. And I used to watch you and him.
Yeah, it's funny. Like a lot of these guys, you pulling these guys on. Even Brew's a Royal guy, but I think Brew came over, you know, trips, and you know he had. I don't think, you know. I know me and Brew played together one year. I can't remember. They all fall in together, but I don't know if you played with him. But anyway, but Shane, yeah, definitely Shane, lifetime Royal, and his son was at Mississippi State. I don't know if he's still there. Right? I mean,
He might be in Pro Bowl. I'm not sure. He's a very talented player though.
yeah, he a
Like
Texas kid too, right? He was a Texas kid too, right?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, let me get any recruiting. Should Coach Hallmark a recruiting coordinator? Who would be the recruiting coordinator?
Ryan Aguayo, Coach Aguayo. Him, my other coach is Coach Shepard, and they I don't want to sell him short. He does a lot of the recruiting too, but Coach Aguayo probably leads it, at least in terms of who to contact and reach out to. Yeah.
All right. And what I always do, you know what I'm saying, Big Pat, I always have, if it's a Twitter, if it's an email, anything that you want from film wise, these parents to send you, it could be a recruiting guy, you just tell me, you know what I'm saying? And and I'll post it towards the end of the interview. All right.
Any of that stuff they send, just mention that they were on this, and we'll make sure we reach back out to them, and again, we'll let them know where we're at or what we think, and go from there.
All right, you heard it here. All right, tell them you saw it, and you know, if anything, I'll and like I said, some of those, you know, parents, especially the good kids, they reach out to me in the video and stuff, and I'll personally, like, yo, you know, I like this kid, or I seen him personally, you know, and I recommend this kid. I always do that. So you know, obviously you guys make the choice in what you want to do. Anyway, so like we said, camps, hard-nosed player, University of Texas, San Antonio. So what's the long-term vision, man? I know that this from, you know, this 2021 class will be technically your first recruiting year, right? If I'm not mistaken.
It'll be our second. So with the kids that are in right now, the freshmen that are on campus right now was our first recruiting class. But it was late, you know, like you mentioned earlier, we started recruiting these guys when we got the job, which was the summer before their senior year. So but they are our first recruiting class. But we got a little late jump on them because we weren't here. But it's a good class, big class. You know, we tried to bring in a lot of guys, so we're excited about it. Yeah.
All right. So my point, I had a point when I was asking about what the recruiting class and just starting with the second year, but when it comes to, and I know you always like the pitching, you know, being an ex-catching guy, I mean, I see a lot of catching, and I see the trends. I mean, catching guys become managers, but pitching coaches wise, is that always tough to do? Like, you know, being a catcher, and, you know, obviously you had that relationship with the pitching guy, you know what I'm saying? I mean, with the pitchers, is that a tough transition to coach pitching from there, being a catcher? I see a few guys do it.
It depends when you're asking me that, D, I guess. Like right now, you know, my just frank answer is no, it wasn't. But, you know, you might call me, we dropped 5 out of 6 and we can't throw strikes, or we're getting our brains bashed in. You know, you might call me in March or something. I might say I'm the worst pitching coach in the world. But I'll tell you this. This is what I guess I'm getting at, is one thing I think that the catchers do well when they become pitching coaches is they can simplify it some. I think pitching, like hitting, I mean, you know it from the hitting side. Those pitchers can overthink it at the end of the day, and I think that sometimes the catcher or a former catcher can ooze some confidence to those pitchers, which is just simply saying, man, it's hard to hit. Don't give them too much credit. You know, you got good stuff. Mix your pitches and throw them over the plate and see what happens. You'd be surprised. I just mean in general, you wouldn't, because you know the game, but people would be surprised if pitchers just mix their pitches. Don't let them sit on the fastball. Just mix them up and throw strikes. It ain't that easy to hit, right? Most damage is done when they get to sit on the fastball. So anyway, again, throwing it over the plate ain't always easy for some of them. But I think that's one thing that former catchers probably do a pretty good job of, is kind of getting the pitchers a little more confidence in their stuff, whatever their stuff is. Let's face it, come game day, they ain't changing their stuff. They are what they are, so they better be confident. So yeah, we just try to get them confident in their stuff, and again, mix the pitches and throw it over the plate.
So when you know, you've been doing this for a long time, and been at some big time programs, and how when you get these freshmen in at a D1 program, all right, playing, you know, right now you technically, you know, outside of the Power 5, but Rice is outside of the Power 5, but you can't tell me that's not a big time program, right? So When you're at these type of programs, how quickly or how long does it take for that incoming freshman pitcher or position player to make that transition to becoming, somebody that you can rely and trust in?
That's a good question, and I think it's an open-ended question. I think everybody's different. We've had pitchers that end up being great pitchers and All-Americans. It might take them a year or 2 years, sometimes even 3, which is too long, honestly, if the talent was there. But John Duplantier is a good example. He's pitching with the Diamondbacks right now, and we had him at Rice for 3 years. And really, his first year he was pretty good, and then his second year he's a little banged up and didn't pitch. And then his third year, he was fantastic. So it took John till that third year. And I think a lot of times if the talent is there, which with John it was, and I don't think John's unique in this example, he just needed to believe it. He needed to realize how good he was. So that's a big part of it. And then other guys, it happens a little quicker. It's not – one thing we'll never do is tell a freshman he's not going to come in and fight for a job. We give every freshman the opportunity. And frankly, if February rolls around and you've got a freshman that's pretty close to an upperclassman in terms of beating him out, a lot of times we'll give the job to the freshman. Because if he's only been on campus for 6 months and he's already neck and neck with a junior or senior, well, where's that kid going to be come May, right? He's probably going to be that much better. So we love it when freshmen come in wanting to play, ready to play. And again, a big part of this game, is confidence. If they think they're good, it definitely helps. So we try to let them know. Sometimes you got to beat them over the head with it, but they're here for a reason. They're pretty good. We want confident guys, and I'd rather them be a little arrogant than not confident. It's much easier to say, hey, that maybe was a little too much. So yeah, we want them to think they're good, walk around like they're good, and ultimately they'll be good. Yeah.
All right. We have a Scott Mullen. All right. Rolling into. All right. So what up, Scotty?
Talent on this show, other than me, you got some talent.
No, I promise you, you bringing them out. I promise you. Like I have not seen Big Berg. Mullen will show his head. We talked last year about his son. I guess he has a talented son playing right now, coming up through the ranks out in South Carolina. But I don't think I've seen Mullen a few times on here, big meaty, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, Prieto and all, it's very few times they come on like that. So you bringing them out, but it's all the Royals guys, man. So
very good baseball team.
It's not like this usually. But all right, so I got Curtis his son Isaac is 2024, plays first base. What makes a first baseman stand out in your eyes? What should he work on?
He's got to hit. He's got to hit. He's got to really smash. I could talk hitting all day. Back in the day, I hit, right? I wasn't a pitcher, I was a hitter. So I feel like there's just so much to talk about hitting. But yeah, again, Curtis, he's got to hit. He's got to produce with the bat. He's got to impact the ball, which means exit velocities. We used to just talk about, does he hit the ball hard? Does he impact the ball? Nowadays, it's all about the exit velocity. So he's got to have some exit velocities. And I wouldn't get too caught up. Most college coaches that know what they're doing, and frankly, most of them do. College coaches are pretty good. So, the batting average is super overrated. Nowadays, people realize that. It's not all about the number of hits, but does he hit the ball hard? The other part of hitting that I think is overlooked, and then this might be overlooked too, even by evaluating, but does he know the strike zone? It's a huge part of hitting. But
when you think, and I get what you're saying, and I'll let you keep going. Trust me. I just wanted to kind of, you said average don't matter, right? Too much now. I get it, but if he understands the strike zone, like you said, shouldn't he hit for a high average and square up more often?
Yeah, there's no doubt, and that's why the reason I mentioned the average doesn't matter is because kids and parents too, they get too caught up in number of base hits. So again, if we go watch a hitter and we watch them anywhere from 5 to 10 games where we get a pretty good sample size. At the end of the day, we're not going to sit in the office as coaches and say, well, he went 10 for 36, so we want him or we don't want him. Don't work that way, and it's not just us. That's how any good coaching staff is, but the conversations are going to be more like, I never saw him swing at a bad pitch, or he never chases, right? He has exit velocity, he finds the barrel, and he doesn't chase. That's a conversation Curtis would want to be taking place about his son. It's not about the number of hits, right? So that's what I would like to tell parents more than anything is just know what the coaches are saying in that room when they're evaluating hitters. Does he impact the ball? Does he have some exit velocity relative to his level? Which means, at the high school, he's a 24, I think you mentioned.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't even know what the exit velocity should be because that means he's a freshman, and my son's a freshman, and I don't know. But let's just say he's a junior or senior. You're going to want a guy who can get some exit velocities into the 90s, not all the time, but some, right? And then if he can do that and he knows the strike zone, these other things, like you mentioned, start to take care of himself. He's going to hit for a decent average. He's going to get on base via the walk some, which means he's a productive player, which, again, a good coach is going to say, I want that guy on my team. Yeah. From a defensive standpoint, my recommendation would be try to get him playing some corner outfield. Again, just running good enough. I don't know how he runs, but Curtis is going to want his son to run good enough that people don't not recruit him because he can't run, right? So he's not a great runner. That's fine, but become a good enough runner that my assistant coach or me or any coach says, well, he just can't run. At least say he's an average runner, something like that. And then he gets the box of hit and controls the strike zone and things like that. So you don't want the negatives in the conversation. Even if he's not a great runner, don't be a bad runner. Yeah.
I love that. I love that because your times may not be great, all right, but you just don't want to be so slow. You know what I'm saying? That
absolutely.
That's a great message right there. I hope you got that. All right, Curtis. Jeff DeVannon, what's up, Big Jeffy? All right, good to see you on. All right.
Jeff DeVannon.
Yes.
From Houston?
Yeah.
Jeff DeVannon I grew up with?
Yeah. That's only Jeff DeVannon I know.
He's one of the best players I ever played with. You talk about an athlete. That was an athlete.
I ain't seen Jeffy's name in freaking ever. I know he's been Facebook.
I've known Jeff DeVannon since I was 6 years old.
No way. That's why he's on. He saw the name. That's why he's on. I promise you. All right. So
yeah, his dad was a big leaguer. Hey, Jeff DeVannon's dad was a big leaguer too.
Really? I don't remember that. Yeah. Jeffy could play, man. Jeffy could freaking play. Yeah, he's on. That's him. Yeah, Jeffy. Yeah, I definitely ain't seen and heard his name in forever. So shout out to Jeffy. Jeffy's on stuck in at least 10 years in the big leagues. I know that, right? But close to it at least. I know. But Roman Escamilla, all right. Alvin Community College to Rice University to Kansas City Royals coach, USTA, my fellow catcher. All right, Roman Escamilla in the house. All right.
Remember when Roman tried to fight the whole? That was in San Antonio too. He tried to fight the whole San Antonio mission team.
Eric Gagne, yeah.
That was awesome.
Yes, it was. Wow, yeah. K Moore's usually on. He's usually follows everything, but yeah, that is a great. Yeah, I don't know where Escamilla. Escandon. I don't know what's up with him, but that was a fight of the century over there. Them t-shirts made and everything, but yeah, big Roman over there trying to take on those big boys over there. All right, I forgot about that. Damn. All right, if a player
he charged into their dugout.
That was K Moore's last game. Broke his hand trying to fight somebody, and man, it's all over Gagne hitting one. Eric Gagne, the great closer back in the day at the Dodgers, and he was a starter then, and was throwing a 1 or 2 hit one. Escandon in the head, and our manager at the time, gonna put his name out there, told our pitcher to hit Luke Allen. Luke comes on the show sometime. He said, I want you to hit Luke Allen in the effing head. This is how the pro game talks, man. I'm just trying to let you know. And after the meeting, after the big brawl and all of that, our coach just calmly said, Chad Durbin. Shout out to Chad. I don't even know what Durbin is now, but I said,
I keep in touch with Durbin a little bit. He's in Louisiana. He's doing great.
Yeah. Tell Durbin I said what's up, man.
Yeah.
He said, when I tell you to hit him, when I tell you to hit a guy in the head, you hit him in the effing head. I was like, I was like, oh my god, these coaches and shit talk like this. Oh my god. So anyway, great stories. Anyway, if a player has a great individual stats, but he's playing on a high school team that's not very good, or the district isn't very strong, how does that player get noticed? What do you recommend that player does to get noticed by you? All right.
That's a good question, and it's a tough question because we do look at that. At least, yeah, the places I've been and the coaching staffs I've been on, if a kid puts up good numbers in high school, but the district he's in or the competition he's facing is not great, especially as a hitter, it can work against him, and it's not his fault. But the coaches start to wonder just about, can he do that against better pitching? I don't always know how to answer that because at the end of the day, sometimes the kid can't control how good the pitching is that he's facing. But that individual would need to play against that tough pitching. Yeah, and again, it's no fault of his own. I don't even like to say that, D, frankly, because it gets into money. Some of these select teams are so expensive, and we realize that. And I don't want to advocate parents to go spend a ton of money to play baseball. I don't think it should be that way, and unfortunately, it is. That's a whole nother show and a whole nother topic. So I'm really hesitant to even say that. I don't know how a kid who again, it's not his fault. The pitchers he's facing just don't have the velocity that can showcase what he can do. And again, I don't know if the parents want to hear it, but that kid often will end up at a JUCO, and then he can put the numbers up at a JUCO and go to the top-notch D1 or pro ball from the JUCO. Again, unfortunately,
Yeah, you cut just as you said. Unfortunately, something, and I know at least on my screen, you froze up a little bit. You said, unfortunately.
Yeah, I was just saying. Did you hear the part about I don't like to advocate these parents to go spend the money?
Yeah, I heard everything you said. You said, unfortunately, something at the end.
Yeah, unfortunately for that kid, that individual that's in that position, the summer circuit becomes more important, and sometimes the JUCO route is a good avenue. JUCO routes are, like you mentioned, it's a great avenue for multiple reasons, but that would be one. I'm a Division I coach, and I don't care. Like, I still promote the JUCOs because I'm a JUCO guy, and I think I promote the JUCOs because it's a good option. At the end of the day, it's just a good option. The level is high, and you get to play. Nobody gets better sitting on the bench at the end of the day. So that's the other reason it's
say it again. Can you say that again, Big Pat? Can you say that again,
Nobody
please?
gets better sitting on the bench. Like they used to tell us, ain't nothing good happens after midnight. Go home. Nothing good happens sitting on the bench.
Hey, and that's it. And I promise you, how do you feel about these guys that go out there and are chasing the Rices and the Texases? And I'm sure you deal with it, in the recruiting trail, man. And when deep down, like, these guys, man, they going sit for one, definitely, 1 year at least. You know what I'm saying? Definitely, maybe 2. What do you say?
This might surprise you, but I don't mind because that kid's not JYD. It goes back to JYD. If they gotta play at that place, that's more about the status and the Twitter page and the stuff that comes with that. The kid that wants to be on the field playing is the one that ends up winning a lot, and we like to win. So I don't mind, and I get it. It's the world we live in, and I'd be a liar if I didn't tell you when I was 18 that stuff caught my eye too. Yeah. It takes a very mature 18-year-old to look at the University of Texas at San Antonio and consider that as valid an option as Texas A&M. It is what it is. There's more bells and whistles over there. So we try to call it like it is. And if that's what they want, we really do wish them the best. And some of them go there, they sit for 2 years, and then they become great players, right? And then that's awesome, right? But the kid that wants to get on the field right away, that's pretty fun too.
Yeah, I love it, man. All right, my boy Will says, I love San Antonio. If he needs a speedy outfielder, I gladly send him Will Jr. and he's they're out of southeast Florida over there. So
Good players over there. Woo.
yeah, no, I'm about to say, shoot, it's hard to get hard to, I mean, Texas has got their own set of really talented kids, but yeah, Florida's right there too.
Coach
So,
Mack's backyard at FAU. So
right.
I wouldn't mind dipping in there because FAU is pretty tough. So they're
Yeah.
finding a lot of good players that Miami and Central Florida and Florida are not getting. It's Florida. It's like Texas, all through the South, all across there. There's good players everywhere.
No doubt about it, man. And so speaking of good players, and speaking of how they can the guys like Will and stuff that have some good kids and stuff like that. How do you like to be reached, Coach Hallmark?
Email's the best way. Yeah, you can get my email and Coach Aguayo's email off of the internet, our website.
What is it off the top? So I'll post it over here just in case. We'll share this. I could pull it up.
I'm gonna have to look exactly. I don't know if it's UTSA.
Yeah, it's UTSA. I think it's Pat.Hallmark or something like that. I'll look it up.
My email, it's Pat.Hallmark at UTSA.edu. Pat.Hallmark at UTSA.edu.
All right. USTA, right?
UTSA.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
.edu.
All right, cool. All right, and so for my parents that have some decent kids, now listen. All right, I'm willing to help any kid, okay, and any parent, and I do this and I provide this service over there. But when it comes to my boy, you know what I'm saying, I'm just keep it 100. All right, don't be sending them no random junk. All right, I want my boy to turn his damn program into a powerhouse over there. So if you lose, I understand. You guys are a fan of the show and enjoy these coaches and stuff like that. And every dad wants their kid go D1. Every kid wants to play D1. I get it. But if you got little rumblings and stuff like that, all right, don't be like, yeah, I was on Coach D Brown's show, Coach D, and send you some junk. Then my boy Pat gonna be like, yo, D, man, what your followers sending me? All right, so I'm just gonna keep it 100. I usually don't say that because I keep it open for everybody because to each his own. I may think your kid is all of this, and Pat may think he's a scrub. I'm just saying, just make sure you ain't sending them sluff. You better be a D1 caliber talent. I want him to be like, man, I want to come on your show again because I get some great talent over here. All right, I'm just word for thought. All right, any other coach and stuff. I know most of the coaches I all love and enjoy, but this is personal here. We go back 20-some years. All right, let's go. Anyway, that was just a shameless plug over there. All right, so. I'll be bugging out here. So Big Pat, man, listen, I know you middle of the day, man. I know you got out there practicing with your boys, man, and I appreciate you taking out the time, and I thank you for coming on. And what I love to do, man, for all my guests that come on, I know we kind of rock, we spend a lot of personal time talking and catching up and stuff like that. I'm just happy to catch up with you. So when it comes to I always have my guests that come on, coaches and stuff, kind of give us a really good advice. You've been giving us good advice, but some strong message to kind of take us home with. All right, we had an hour or so on this live, but I'd love for you if you could kind of wrap us up with a great message to kind of take us home with, if you could. It could be about anything.
Yeah, I'll try to, because we're dealing with all the COVID stuff. I'll try to follow just on those lines, because I had, like I mentioned earlier, I had breakfast with a summer select coach this morning in the San Antonio area. That was most of the conversation, was just how do these parents so it's already stressful enough for the parents and the kids basically competing and wondering, for most of them. You have that 5% that they know they're Division I talent and they got offered as freshman and sophomore, right? But 95% of them, a lot of the kids, am I good enough to play Division I or Division II or JUCO? Am I good enough to play in college? And then this COVID thing happens. And so now I think the stress level goes up, because it's not only am I good enough to play and the anxiousness, but now it's like, am I even being seen? Because most of the coaches haven't been out. Even the JUCOs that can go out, at least around here, a lot of the individual colleges are saying, no, don't go, even if the big entity, the JUCO NCAA, whatever that is letting them. So my advice at the end of the day is really life advice: is stay persistent. Enjoy the game of baseball. Get back to why you played baseball when you were 8 to 11.
Mm,
Fun, right? It sounds overly simplistic, but go play for the joy of playing. If
mm,
dad or mom or coach has to make you practice, reevaluate, play for the joy of playing, because that comes out to us as coaches. It really does go on display when we do get out to see you. And the talent is what it is. You got to work hard, but if you enjoy playing, you're going to work hard, because it's not work. I don't even like to use the term work when it comes to baseball. It should be some other term, because to me, it was never work. I was lucky, right? I just love to play. So, but at the end of the day, stay persistent. This COVID crap sucks. We are paying attention. I'm not the only one. There's coaches all over the state I talk to. We're watching live streams. We're watching videos that people send us. And then we call people like D, like you, and we say, hey, this guy mentioned your name in this video, and the video looks pretty good. Tell me about him. And then it's got to fit financially with the 11.7 scholarships. But the best advice I can give a kid or a parent is persistence. There's nothing in life like being persistent. Just stay persistent. And if you love the game, that persistence is going to pay off, and you're going to be grateful and happy and get a lot out of it, because it's a wonderful game. Stay persistent is kind of what I'd say.
no, I love it. Great message, man, from my boy Big Pat Hallmark. So, speaking of streaming and stuff like that, Big Pat, all right. We have a few dates for my listeners that's still on. September 26th, we have a lockdown at Jackson State Junior College in Jackson, Tennessee, Memphis area. Coach Hallmark, we are going to be streaming a showcase on September 26th, which is a Saturday in Jackson, Tennessee. I would like for you to, I'll give you the link to the stream, and I'd like for you to, I'll have some ball players over there from multiple states there. We tentatively have September 19th set for here in Atlanta, Georgia. We have October 3rd for Orlando. October 10th for Orlando. And then I just told you before, we're going to lock down either the 6th or the 13th there in Waco. And I definitely want, hopefully it'd be open and get one of your coaches. If you could come over there, I know it's 3 hours.
Right, yeah. Well, you might have mentioned this earlier. In Waco, where are you doing it?
I'm gonna get all that, locked down. I just kind of, give me, I'm just kind of working out. We talked about McAllen Junior College, something like,
Oh, yeah, McLennan. Yeah. Okay.
We talked about it tentatively, but shout out to my boy that is listening, and my boy Jimmy Ayala, hooking that up for me. But yeah, they will definitely be in attendance. I don't know if we're gonna do it on their field, but we'll see. But I'll get you that information on November 6th and 13th. But I'll give you the dates for the other showcases outside of Texas that I would love for you to, be on with the stream, and I'll give you that information in the back. Okay.
Okay.
Listen, parents, you heard me say it. So September 19th in Atlanta. Shoot me a text, private message me, and I'll get you the information. We're trying to lock down the field. September 26th in the Jackson, Tennessee. It's a wrap. That's locked and loaded. We just added. Obviously, we got coaches like Pat Hallmark at UTSA will be in attendance stream wise. So we have a bunch of other schools that will be there streaming. We have two schools I know as at Jackson State. Their staff will be there, but then we also just included just now. Confirmed with them 2 pro scouts that will be in attendance there too. So it'll be a college / pro workout. I got the 2 confirmations from 2 pro scouts that will be there at the workout. So again, I'm just trying to, especially those 2021s that are uncommitted and 2022s that are uncommitted. This is basically for you, but I'm not shutting down the doors for everybody. If you want to come, if you can play 23s and 24s, but this is basically for that 2021s and 2022s. September 26th. I definitely want to get those, kids in that whole Mid-South, area. All right, Dan, everyone. All right, you're in Mississippi. Good to see you on. All right, I'll send you the link and the information out there to come up to that camp. I know you're playing in New Orleans as a junior with some summer league, but you need to take your butt up there to Jackson, Tennessee, and show out in front of, and that's a good picture right there, quality picture that I would recommend. All right, to you, all right, Big Pat, my boy, Kevin Hill, all right. Anyway, I want to get all that out. Gosh, all right. So tomorrow, later on today, matter of fact, we're doing double duty today. I have Stillman college out of Alabama, HBCU coach. Goes Terrence Whittle. All right, Terrence Whittle. All right, coach. I got so many, coming on.
D.
I know, man. 4 p.m. coming on today at 4 p.m. So I definitely want you guys to come back. You know what I'm saying there, and we will be back at 4 p.m. in a couple hours. And we got Stillman College head coach coming on again, Terrence Whittle, coming at 4 p.m. All right, I want everybody to again join me back at 4 p.m. And if you tend not to join, I want everybody to have a great and safe weekend. We'll be back. I got 4 or 5 more coaches lined up. Tony Miranda joined on, Big Pat, so he's saying what's up too. All right, so like I said, it was a Royals reunion over here. Huh?
That's another ball player. That's the straw that stirred the drink right there. Boy, damn.
Yeah, we deep over here. All right, so my parents listening in, it's just like a Royals reunion. A lot of us guys, and just
you ought to lead in. Tony's a national champion. They beat us in 1995. They beat Rice in the regional to go to the World Series, and they won the whole thing. So he's a national champion, NCAA national champion right there.
Well, we gonna definitely talk about that. We had that's what I said. We had a great comment. We brought you up a couple of days ago, man. So like I said, this is the beauty of playing the game. What your kids are going to experience, once they play in college, they're going to, meet lifelong friends and compete against guys that hopefully go on to play at professional baseball. And the more years you play, the more people you meet. And this is the beauty of what, the connections and the friends and stuff that I haven't been around this man in person in 20 something years, you know what I'm saying? But, here he is grinding at a Division I college, and I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm able to come over here and provide, this great information about a school to you parents, you know what I'm saying? Because of the relationship that, we built and played together, blood, sweat, and tears type of thing, man. So that's the beauty of this game. So that's what your kids have something to look forward to, is meeting friends for life, you know what I'm saying? And we could talk about the brawls and stuff, like the stuff that I forgot, we bring up and stuff like that. That's what this makes this great game the way it is. It's never we miss baseball and all of that. It's more the relationships that we miss when it comes to not playing no more. And so when we see a kid that doesn't really enjoy the game, that their parents are forcing them to play, that they're half-assing it out there on the field and stuff like that here and there, and many of us want that opportunity to still play. Wish we could age-wise and stuff like that. We see that. We know you're blowing away talent, Coach Hallmark. Am I right with that or what, man?
Oh, absolutely. The one of the most fun things to me, D, and I marvel at it every time, is I haven't seen you in, like you said, 20 years, and we get on this call, and about 3 minutes into the call, you think we talk twice a week, right? It's so easy to pick back up. And you throw these names out and all these guys. It's so easy to pick back up because you shared so many of the same desires in terms of wanting to play in the big leagues and wanting to be as good as you could be. At the end of the day, like I tell kids all the time, I don't regret not playing in the big leagues because honestly, I didn't have big league talent. But one thing I don't regret either is I got as good as I could get at the game of baseball. Right?
I didn't realize you snuck 9 in them, Coach. I promise you, like
Yeah.
I'm not saying that to be,
No, I get it, right? But those experiences with people like you and these other guys that got on, like that's what's so special, and that's why it's easy to feel like I talk to this guy all the time, but wait, I don't. I haven't talked to him in 20 years, but it don't feel like that at all. Yeah.
And that's the beauty of this game. So listen, man. Big Pat, I wish all the best to you. I definitely, like I said, I'm going to, we'll be in contact and stuff like that. And, now we kind of reconnect. And like I said, I hope to provide, some really good quality players, to you through, various connections and stuff, through the show, through the camps and stuff like that. And that's the beauty, man, of this thing, man. So Big Pat, I appreciate you, my brother. Thank you so much for coming on, man.
Yeah, I'm pumped to be here, man. Thank you.
All right. So parents, 4 p.m. today. All right. We'll be on at 4 p.m. And then I look to, hopefully you come back on double duty and spend your day with me today, all day, pretty much. All right. So we'll be on 4 p.m. All right. And if I don't see you guys later at 4 p.m., have a great weekend. Thank you, Big Pat. Appreciate you, my brother.
See you guys. Yep. Bye-bye.
All right, Big Pat.